push anywhere. So
right.
not the competition ran out. Yeah, that was a weird game.
Yeah.
That was a weird game because Wesley was in trouble, and then like he took a lot of time, didn't find the right moves, and then he was just down a full pawn. Then Vidit hangs a piece, and then yeah. So
Well, I mean,
far,
you worry a
both
little bit
players.
about, for the first time, it's early, but a little bit of a tilt here. Losing two is one thing, but now you're with the black pieces, and this is a big moment, big game right here. You're trying to avoid one of these, a Vidit tilt. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know Vidit well enough to know if he's a guy who tilts a lot. I know everyone pretty much tilts, but
Yeah.
how he approaches blunders.
Apparently, these guys got some sort of memo I wasn't aware of, that this is a Catalan themed opening match, not just
No,
a
these
match.
guys really do live off the Catalan.
Yeah.
Really, two of the best Catalan players in the world, and they play it more frequently than a lot of even 2700s. So.
Yep. Well, again, Black is doing fine out of the first stage. We were touting Vidit's opening before the last game slipped away, and when you're in a positive frame of mind, you always want to shape things as a chess player psychologically to make you convince yourself that there's still hope always, and you got to say, well, I've had a couple of really good positions, and I just need to wake up tactically and stop blundering. Right? That's the storyline. If you're Vidit, if you're Wesley, you're like, well, I haven't even played my best chess yet, and somehow I'm up 2 games. So both sides trying to keep themselves in the right state of mind early in the match.
Yeah, I mean, the last match we did was, Aroni and Giri, but Levon has an ability to switch gears and play very aggressively. I wonder in this match who's going to be the first player to, start playing in a different style or mixing things up, because Vidit and So in the sense are both pretty classical players, and they're happy playing a match like this. So, but if he's down 2 games and it's not working out, even if the positions he's getting are okay, if he's just blundering them, you might still need to just switch.
Right.
You're getting okay positions, but then somehow.
But you're right. It's the tempo of the match, right? You have to change the feel, change the vibe. You're right, Walruski. We will look into whether we've spelled Wesley So's last name correctly. Great point. All right. Well, now Wesley seems to have turned the tables a little bit, because you have Black focused on defending kind of the only weakness on the board of c5. White has the d-file.
What is the d-file? I mean, very minimal advantage here. And if Black plays the right moves, she should be fine coming out of this. But yeah, there's a small amount.
Well, White trying to prevent Black from simplifying there. Now a move like rook d8 would allow a big trade and c5 fall. So Wesley trying to squeeze a little bit of water out of the stone here.
A symbolic advantage, as they say in the books.
I like that. Is that a technical term, symbolic advantage?
I read it in some chess books when they try to say it like looks better, but it's not.
Sounds like a John Nunnism. I don't know. Maybe not. All right. Well, yeah. Wesley does have a symbolic advantage. Black is kind of struggling for a plan, as you said, if that's what that means.
But the d-file is, even though it's in white has control of the d-file, there are no entry squares, and both sides have a weakness on c4, c5, and it's not like one is okay. c5 one is on a dark square, but otherwise,
if Black could, he would love to just quickly transfer through the d7 square to come to either b6 or e5, right? And there's your weakness on c4. But again, the more we look at this, the more we're like, yes, it's only symbolic, but Black can't bring the knight to the side of the board that he wants it. He can't challenge the d-file. He's worried about playing moves like a5, probably because of moves like a4, and now you've got 2 pawns stuck on dark squares. So you're right. Maybe there's a little more here for White than I thought.
Well, I mean, I said symbolic. Maybe it's more than that, but it felt like the way he handled the opening was fine. So I just believed in Black's position. I think he's wondering right now whether he can play a5 and the consequences of a5, a4. I mean, if Black plays a5, White plays a4, is the b-file worth something, or is putting another pawn on a dark square just like a...
Right. Well, I think it would be if you could play rook b8 or rook b6, but rook b8 hangs a5, and...
There's also, like, maybe I play e5, e4 right now. Maybe I try to play g5, because even though, it looks nice for White...
You know what? I was wrong about that line. If a4, Eric, rook b8 can be played, because knight a5 is met by rook a6, and the knight is trapped.
The knight is trapped.
Okay.
And that's I guess, what he was figuring out.
Okay. Well, that could be huge for Vidit, who had to use about a minute on the clock, actually almost 2 minutes on that move. Wesley sees what Vidit's up to, says, "I'm not gonna blunder away the B file." But now the knight is pinned.
Rook, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
some counterplay here for Mr. Gujrathi.
It feels like black should be fine. A4, knight D2. I mean, he consider playing rook C to B6 as well.
I like
right?
that move.
Because
Keep the
then
B file challenge.
Yeah. But this way, he can also play rook C B6 after. Yeah, we have that. And what is Wesley going to do? Take rook B1.
Okay,
Yes.
big simplification coming.
Rook B4. Maybe rook B4 just to provoke A3, and that pawn is on a dark square.
I also like knight D7. Okay, he doesn't go for that. I thought maybe make him trade and bring my knight to this square of C4, but he goes with your plan. Down knight D7.
Knight C3, knight B6. Well, this could be a little annoying. Black's king is going to go to C6,
and suddenly
C5.
The tables have turned, right? And C4 is the easier target than C5. And Wesley kind of giving a little bit of a shake head there. Nod.
Well, he was really relaxed, but yeah, if the position actually wasn't so good, he probably should have considered what if my opponent does go for some active counterplay. I like this knight on B6. Bring the king to C6 and try to get your dark squared bishop on this A1 to H8 diagonal, where it can harass the A3 pawn. Vidit is on the better side here.
Yeah. As soon as the king gets here, everyone, you free up the bishop from its defensive duties so it can start aggressive duties. That was kind of the point Eric was highlighting there, and this is good endgame technique. Your self-deprecating evaluations of your endgame play, or I won't let you get away with it. Eric is a very strong endgame player, although Canada not necessarily known for their endgame technique. You want to talk about that?
I was thinking about what you're referring to. We're not known for our endgame technique. Yasser likes to talk about that. But if people, a friend might get mad at me for this. If you look at the final round of the Olympiad, Evgeny Bureyev, our best technical player by far, found one of the most painful self-mates you'll ever see.
Oh, I did see that game. That hurt. Self-mating yourself in the end game is
and it was sort of an end game, and I was wondering if you were referring to that because
no, I was honestly just having fun with you because you and I have joked about that on shows previously. But
it's going to be one in the history books.
Yeah.
That's it's the one blunder you sort of make that you're going to be in the history books, the tactic books for forever. And I'm sort of a bad I thought it was
No, but you're a much stronger endgame player than me. Jokes aside, but what do you feel about this situation where now White has kind of had to overextend the pawns in order to get counterplay, and the E4 square's opened up? So I still feel like Vidit is on the better side of this, but maybe not enough for either side to really win.
It's one of those situations where when I usually see Wesley lose these is against like Magnus or someone. Like he's very resourceful, and as we talked about, he just doesn't lose much. So Vidit's on the better side, but Wesley's I just believe, no matter what the evaluation is, I prefer black a little bit here, that he's going to be fine at the end of this.
Okay. Knight endgame shall commence.
And now it's just
everyone's
no matter what happens, Wesley always ends up in like the most drawn positions ever, right? Where now it's like it's 2 pawns each and a knight, and he's done a good job of cleaning up the board.
Yeah, and we've already said it a few times that he's got a very good nose, or just a very good, called a sixth sense of when he may have lost the thread, and unlike some strong players, he's objective enough to kind of always choose the road to simplification. So I would argue that in this type of format, as long as you're on form and able to get wins here and there, that type of objectivity is very important. Prevents you from going on tilt. You're less likely to be the one who loses 2 or 3 games in a row, which in a format where you don't really have time to take a break and emotions can get the best of you, that can really help Wesley. Not necessarily against Magnus, as everyone remembers. Last year, but sometimes when someone's just better than you, that's another thing altogether, right?
Yes. So G6.
Ooh,
no,
wait.
He went for the. That makes a lot of sense. This could get a little tricky. Vidit, I'm noticing one thing. He is falling behind and on the clock later on in the games.
And now he almost needs to settle on knight g6. Give up c5 for king e3, I think.
Yes, that works.
Ooh.
Or this.
You must have calculated the king and pawn ending. Okay, so
he gets his king to e3.
Okay, very, very nice. And we will have yet another peaceful result. Mannered Monkey always coming through with the sub. That guy just loves bringing